good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, children and babies, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be joining us from. My name is Deven Morgan, Director of Baseball at Driveline, founder of the Driveline Academy, and your marble mouth host of the most dangerous youth baseball podcast in the world. And I am joined, as per usual, by my brother, my partner, my co-host, Driveline Academy Assistant Director, Driveline Academy International Man of Mystery, Jeremy Tech-Teal, and a special guest back to the fold. He's back on the pirate ship once again. He's back, baby. Zac Morain. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back. Lots changed, man.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah, just a hair.
You know, things move quickly here.
Oh yeah,
as you're well aware of.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think we were super fired up to be able to get you back. And the reason that Zac is here, I feel weird not calling you Morain. So I don't know. It's just like what we do around here. Sometimes you're either a first name guy or a last name guy, but
or sometimes it's not even your real name.
Oh sure.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's just Goblin or
Yep.
yeah. The reason that Zac, Mr. Morain, if you have it, is here.
No Mister yet, man.
No, Mr.
I'm not
Mr.
that old.
Mr. Morain, if you're nasty.
No, Mr. Yet. What's the qualification? It's an age thing.
Oh yeah, I think it's an age thing.
It's
I
like
feel old when you call me Mr. Morain.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no.
You're married and you have a
I
kid,
know.
so like Mr. might be.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it does qualify.
Yeah.
Old Man River over here. It creeps up on you real fast.
Oh yeah.
Real fast. The reason that Zac is here with us today is to talk in depth about the thing that we previewed last episode, which is new training products that we have for youth. So the reason that I'm starting with this rather than housekeeping is that like just to immediately let's start off the bat. What we're going to be talking about today is a brand new thing. And the reason we want to talk about it at the pod and preview it this way is it's something that we can now have accessible to everyone. I know I've gotten a ton of emails that are like, Deven, when are you guys opening up Driveline Poughkeepsie? Right? When is Driveline Chicago?
Have you actually
When
gotten
is,
to Poughkeepsie?
I've gotten like that area. Okay. Driveline Florida.
Driveline Atlanta. Shout out Charles Brown.
Driveline Atlanta. We've gotten these questions a lot, and you know what? We're just not going to do housekeeping today. We're just going to jump right into it. You guys know it's a standard stuff. Axbat.com, code DL20, Skills and Skill Complete Youth Baseball Training Manual, out now. Youth Underload Smash Bat, Youth Power Bat. Okay, are we good? We're good.
Nailed it.
So let's get to the meat, right? For as long as we've been doing this thing, we've had people that want to engage with it, and I think the constraint that they deal with is that they want to get the insight, the information, in the individual specific plan for getting better that we provide to our academy athletes, but they don't want to leave their current team.
Or they don't live anywhere remotely close to where the teams we have.
Right. I mean, I think we had, and man, shout out to you guys, because I know we've had a couple people that are like, hey, if I just moved to Seattle for the summer, can I play for your academy teams? And like, there are many times in my life when I question my commitment to my son's sporting endeavors. But I never went that far.
Yeah.
So shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly the blocker, right? We really didn't have a training product for them to be able to like get them in and assess them and give them the plan for getting better. And even if we did, it wasn't set up in a way where they could like come in and do that in a single day.
Right. The closest we had was Academy Online, which has been going on for years, and it's mostly programming.
Yeah.
Programming, meeting with a trainer, but there is not an in-person aspect to it for the most part.
Yeah, and I think Academy Online has been running well. If you guys have seen our socials lately, you've seen some of the success stories we've been posting about kids that are like gaining velocity, gaining throw ball velocity, or gaining bat speed. They're getting better. Weirdly, production in the game is going with that. Super spooky.
Huh.
But I think we knew that there was like an evolution. We could make a positive evolution to that product that helps people more. And hey, we're just going to increase, I think, the density of the information that we can intake. Because of that, we can give a much better individualized plan for how we're going to get better. Drum roll, please. Da-da-da-da-da. Now we have that thing.
Yeah, and I think the other behind the scenes, if you will, factor of this is if you listen to this podcast frequently, you know that our mission is not just to have teams that go out and win games and develop kids, but we want to change youth baseball as a whole. And it's really difficult to do if the only product we offer is regional and location based.
Yeah, and I feel like I've been very dumb about this. And I can grant all the structural stuff that precedes that, right? We had to solve how we're going to like operationally run our teams. We had to solve how we're going to train our coaches, train our parents, iterate on the player development plan. Like all that stuff is all well and true. But I think ultimately, even in our local markets, our posture has been very much like we're Protestants and we are talking to Catholics and being like, if you don't convert, then you can't be on the boat, right? That's the thing that changes effectively come May 1st when this product launches. I am committing to it on a public podcast. I'm committing to the May 1st deadline, not for us because I think our systems are relatively dialed, but for making sure that the final steps of R&D executing. May 1st is going to be the thing. We have 2 new products for you. One of those is called the Academy Snapshot. The other is called the Academy Flex. So let's start with the Snapshot.
Yeah.
What we're doing with the Snapshot now is we are going to have a markerless motion capture system to assess hitting and throwing, and your player does not have to get down to their sliding shorts to do that.
Yeah.
And
We're sorry if your player really enjoyed getting down to his sliding shorts and putting the sticky leads all over, but
Sure.
I have been around a lot of players. I've done it myself. I don't think anybody actually enjoys that. So
Yeah.
I will say, like, when you throw in your shorts, like, throwing on the mound in front of people is a lot easier.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's
That's
the old
true.
I was
like,
gonna say.
if you're worried about public speaking, picture everyone naked. Like if you're worried about pitching off a mound, just pitch off a mound in your sliding shorts.
Exactly.
And then that's that.
Yeah.
There's like that whole
All right,
concept.
you're right.
that-
It's a mental game
scrap
hack
the-
scrapping it. Yeah, because we talk about training in a way that's so difficult that the competition is easy. Throwing in your underwear is one way that you solve that problem. Anyways,
Don't have to do that now.
yeah, don't have to do that now because we're going to be able to do markerless motion capture, which to a degree is validated by the years and years and years and years and years of data that we have in a markered motion capture database. We did a couple episodes ago a fairly deep dive on the difference between on kind of what this inverse dynamics process of motion capture entails and what we get out of it. If you really want to get into those weeds, dive into that. But the point being is that with this markerless process now, we can get the same quality of information faster with less like logistical headache to execute.
Yep.
So the way that this product is going to work, let's just want to just start there.
Yeah.
Is it all starts with the snapshot. And what the snapshot is going to be is a 90-minute session where we're going to come in and we're going to get a quick dynamic warm-up. We're going to do force plate testing, which again takes advantage of the database that we have with thousands of professional athletes. I mean, is it incorrect to say tens of thousands of college athletes at this point?
I don't believe so. Do you want to go a little bit more into the force plate
Yeah,
testing?
I do. And the point of starting with the force plate stuff is to understand athleticism generally outside of the skill-specific athleticism, right? Like, yes, if you go to a showcase, they're going to get your thrown ball velo, and they're going to get you some batted ball data.
Yep.
The thing that you don't get, typically, is any insight in the athletic system that actually powers those skills. And the best thing that we have in that regard is like an age broken down database and playing level broken down database to kind of understand what does your athleticism look right now? How does that compare to what you need next year and the year after that and the year after that? So we can set small goals and big goals on the athletic development side. And that's one of the most, I don't want to say one of the most substantial parts of the snapshot process, but it's incredibly impactful because we all understand that when we see huge gains on the skill development side, it starts within the weight room.
Yeah, it very rarely do we see huge gains in the skill development side without the underlying high performance massive gains.
Yeah. So within, I don't know, I know 15-ish minutes, we can get kids through that athletic assessment and some very simple tests that are safe to execute, but it gives us that kind of peek under the hood about like what's the athletic engine underneath.
Yep.
The other thing that we can do with that is paint a very clear picture about what it looks like at the next level. Mm-hmm. So whether you're a 10 to 12-year-old and you are smart enough as a person or have a parent that's smart enough to understand that this thing should be building towards high school baseball, you're going to want to know what is the athletic composition of good high school baseball players start to look like. We can show you that, and then not only can we show you that, but we can introduce you some programming that's going to help you develop those tools.
Yeah, just increase force production.
It's a good thing.
It's probably a good thing.
It's a good thing. So we're going to start with the force plate assessment. I think that's really unique data and insight that like you just kind of can't get other places.
Yep.
And if you can get it other places, it's not going to be informed by the database that we've been collecting for years and years and years with real numbers about what these guys and girls look like.
Yep.
From there, we've got the actual markerless biomechanic products of the throwing assessment and the hitting assessment.
Yep.
So the throwing one, you're going to get warmed up. They're going to go in, and we think probably 8 bullets, 8 to 12 is probably
12,
what we need to fire. So it's not going to be a really long bullpen session because it doesn't need to be, because what we actually want to do is collect the best information possible when you're like ready to perform at a pretty high level, representative of how you're going to be doing in the game. And again, markerless, so you're just coming in, shirt and shorts, turfs, don't wear cleats in our gym.
Full baseball uniform if you're
Sure.
if you're feeling spicy.
Whatever you're comfortable.
Yeah, whatever you feel like you want to throw in.
I'm kind of in on full uni. That'd be kind of tight.
Would be kind of tight.
That'd be kind of tight.
It would look like the showcase.
That's right. So the throwing, markerless biomechanic assessment.
Yep. I'll throw a caveat in there too.
Yeah.
We won't let you throw if you have thrown within the last 4 days, 3-4 days.
Yes.
Like thrown high intent recently, we're not going to let you throw in that motion capture. So it is only 8 to 12 bullets, but it is a thing that we are going to regulate pretty heavily because we don't want bad biomechanics data, which you would get if you're throwing fatigued, or worst case scenario, like an actual injury to happen in the biomech lab if you threw in a game 2 days ago and then now you're trying to get an assessment.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't need a ton of bullets fired, but we need those bullets fired to be representative of what it looks like when you're healthy and ready to compete.
Right.
And from that, I think there's a couple different things that, again, are different and unique from what you get from conventional showcases.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be able to get TrackMan data?
Yes.
Yes. But pairing that with the biomechanics, I think, is when things start to get interesting.
Yep.
Because with the biomechanics now, what we can take advantage of is things like our drill scores.
Mm-hmm.
And we can start to look at the mechanics of your player and break down percentile-wise, what do their lower half mechanics look like? What do their upper half mechanics look like? What does their arm action mechanics look like? How do these things grade out relative to this massive database that we have of not only youth players, but high school players, collegiate players, non-affiliated professionals, and professionals? It's not so much relevant for a 12-year-old what your arm action grades compared to Dan Straley. I think it's pretty relevant what your arm action grades compared to high schoolers.
Yep.
Because, again, you've got a window of time that you can develop. That's the first North Star you should be setting. We start to understand what that starts to look like.
Yep.
And then from that, the next thing we have on the throwing side in terms of that markerless motion capture assessment is drill scores, which are going to give you specific drills to work on to help resolve the deficiencies that you have. And that's, I think, the first thing that really, for me, separates this from showcases. Because best, the best showcase you can get to, I mean, we can quibble about the quality of our data versus theirs, right? Like the way that I was talking to our CEO about it this morning is we're talking about the final stages of knowing what this product is, what the customer is, and how that's all going to work. Is like, I feel really confident that our data is going to be better than any data that you're going to get at a showcase. I don't care who provides it. We either have a better database to rely on or we have better technology, period. But largely that stuff is just like it's a faster horse, right? I'm comparing horses to horses, and that's fine. The difference between the horse, which is a showcase, and a flip and race car, which is our snapshot process, is the fact that we can go, this is what you need to get better. And there's no showcase company in the world that's actually going to take that posture. They just don't. That's not their business.
It's not right. It's not what they're good at.
That's not what they're good at, and that's fine. Yeah. Like it's no shot on.
That's not what they're set up to do.
But they're just not set up to do. Our job is player development. Right. That's the one thing that we're just like best in the known universe at. And now with this product, we have the ability to bring kids in that honor on our teams. That you don't need to convert religions. You don't need to leave what you're doing. And you can get this type of quality of information about where you are right now, where you need to go, and how to get there. Mm-hmm. So that's on the throwing side. Anything that we didn't miss, I missed on there? Oh, Edgertronic video as well.
Edger video, yeah.
Because, again, if we're going to start to think about things like a biomechanics report, and I think the drill scores in the mechanics grading is what like actually makes that actionable. Look, I've stared at biomic reports from my kid since he was 9. There was a small window of time where I was like really interested in those numbers, and I think as he's gotten older, the more informed my perspective has been is when I just focus on like what's the lowest hanging fruit right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, you need to move down the mound faster? Okay, cool. Well, here are some drills to help us do this. Yep. Janitor's a good one to start with. So that's what we're going to get on the throwing side. So you've got full-on markerless motion capture the biomechanics, TrackMan to get your thrown ball stuff, gear metrics on stuff, get your edger video as well so you can connect the dots between how the ball is moving and why. Now, for your 10-year-old, please don't get in the weeds about spin rate and spin axis and spin direction of your 10-year-old. Probably just need to like master the most basic thing. Let's try to throw a four-seamer with good backspin in and around our target competitively.
Correct.
But again, that's just some granularity there. Next step from there is in this same session, being able to do the hitting motion capture assessment. So now we've got two things going there as well. Not only are we going to be able to get you hitting biomechanics, start to look at like why does the swing move the way that it does, but also the batted ball reports to understand what are you producing, right? Which I think to me, the difference between, I think some pretty direct parallel between TrackMan on the throwing side and the batted ball hit tracks report on the hitting side, because it's like, this is what you're actually producing. And start to get into the weeds about like, what is how effective you are at hitting the ball pull side minnow oppo, right? And like, again, you're just going to showcases and they're going to give you like average and max exit velocity, which is, it's fine. Right, it's fine, but it's not a deep enough picture about what you need as a player to like maximize the tools you have and set goals for where you want to go.
Right, and that's the showcases that do it well, not the ones that may have you hitting off a tee.
Yeah,
that's no story.
Yeah. I mean, in that like, I've done like the slightly faster horse analogy. Like, exit velocity off of a tee measured with a pocket radar is tantamount to like Parks and Recs fans. Lil Sebastian.
How dare you? How dare you?
Versus like the Budweiser, what's with
Clydesdales.
The Clydesdales, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I love Lil Sebastian.
Yeah.
Let's be real clear. We literally have a Lil Sebastian blanket in our house. R.I.P. But hey, man, if you're looking for insight on your player, you don't want the Lil Sebastian product. You want the Clydesdale.
Correct.
So hitting biomechanics and then the batted ball report. So all told, we've got 5 different core reports with some ancillary ones, right? Throwing biomechanics, hitting biomechanics, batted ball report, TrackMan stuff, force plates, plus edger. And you get all of that stuff in a 90-minute session.
Yep.
So then what happens afterwards? Well, we're going to run those reports, and then you're going to schedule a meeting with one of Zac's Flex trainers to dive into, like, what does this mean? What's the plan? And then you get 30 days of programming to be able to like start to resolve those things, which leads us into the second new training product that we have. So Snapshot is the one-shot assessment. You're going to come in 90 minutes. You're going to get your stuff. Then you'll meet with the trainer to review it on your own schedule. I mean, I think we generally want those things to be like within 2 to 7 days.
Yeah. No longer. Definitely not more than a week. So
right.
Within that next week.
Because again, what we want to do is not only review the output of this assessment, but also give you the plan to get better.
Yeah.
And that's the next version, I think the iteration of this product, right? Snapshot, one-time thing with a meeting. What we're calling Academy Flex is now recurring test, retest with programming and access to all this other stuff.
Yep.
So the way that Flex is going to work is whereas the Snapshot is a one-time product, Flex is a monthly product. I think what we decided is that the minimum duration is 4 months.
Yep.
So if you're going to hop on and you just want to try one of these things, you can do the Academy Snapshot. Hey, one-time deal, you're good. If you know that you actually want to get better and you want to execute this plan over time, you jump into Academy Flex.
Yep.
And the way that Flex is going to work is you can retest every month.
Yep.
You're going to get
and the retest is the snapshot.
So
going through the snapshot. At once a month, you get that product.
Yes. So once a month, you're going to go through that test retest cycle so that we understand how you're getting better.
Right.
How are things changing? How do your drill scores need to change? How is your batted ball profile changing? How does your force plate data changing?
Because it's important to understand that first snapshot, while it can provide some direction for you, it is a baseline.
Yes.
And we start there and then work from the baseline. It's going to be a lot more impactful to do this consistently as opposed to using that one baseline as your North Star.
Yeah. And I think that the one thing that's really critical to highlight about Academy Flex is the flexibility that we have.
I'm glad that pun's catching on.
Had to, dude.
Flex.
The flexibility that you have to kind of pick how you're going to engage with it, right? So let's say, we're going to launch these products on May 1st. And let's say you, as a longtime Driveline Academy podcast listener, are going to email support right now, support@drivelinebaseball.com or 425-523-4030.
That phone number has never left my brain.
Can't.
There.
You're going to reach out and say, hey, I listened to this show. I want in on this flex thing. And I want to start in the first batch of retest of the snapshots that you're doing, but I'm in the middle of my season.
Yep.
Perfect. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to schedule you a time where, relative to your game schedule, you can come in here and fire those 8 to 12-ish bullets, and it's going to be safe. We are going to say, hey, you've got another 90 days of training in your competition season. So because of that, this is how the plan is going to work, still targeted at that lowest hanging fruit, targeted your most specific individual layers of opportunity to get better, but it's not going to interfere with your team schedule.
Right.
That all starts with us basically defining our yearly training plan, which is a thing that we did a couple years ago. And now with that schedule defined, you can engage with it whenever.
Right.
Right? And I think that's the best part of that product is instead of kind of putting up that wall and saying well, you can only do this thing in October through February. Not everybody's on our schedule.
Right.
And that's fine. Mm-hmm. Because we have this flexibility with how you can kind of start it at any point, you can get acclimated with the product, you can do this test retest, and even during your competition season get some insight about whether you're getting better or worse. And then set yourself up for when it actually is time to develop, you're ready to hit the ground running.
Yep.
So Flex is basically the monthly version over a longer period of time of this same thing, of the snapshot, with, let me see if I can remember all the stuff that comes with it, because there's a lot.
Here's where it gets infomercially.
Yeah, this is going to getting a little
but wait,
infomercially.
there's more.
There is a lot more.
And there is. And I think the reason for that, at the end of the day, to start with the reason, is that exactly what Jeremy said. Our intention is to make youth baseball better holistically, and that means for everybody, not just the kids on our teams. So because of that, we want these kids are going to participate in Flex in what we would say is a longitudinal training product. When we have a longer relationship over time, we want those kids to get access to the same tool that our academy kids do.
Yep.
So, monthly test retest, so the monthly snapshots. You're going to do those every 4 weeks to continue to test if you're getting better or not. Weekly hitting is going to be something that you're going to be able to come in, hit on a machine.
In front of a hit tracks.
In front of a hit tracks versus the eye pitch. You can make it as challenging as you need to. So again, you want to join this thing in a competition phase. You feel like you are having a hard time getting timed up on breaking balls. Okay, fine. We can literally train that thing with the eye pitch in the hit tracks, have it as competition relevant as possible. Mm-hmm. Okay, so monthly test retest, weekly hitting, free access to our defensive skill or our skill camps when we're running those. So that's going to include catching camps, infield stuff, outfield stuff. We're talking about doing some speed development stuff as well.
Stuff, yeah.
That's something that's just going to be able to access for our Flex customers at no cost.
Yep.
Access to our nutritionist, Laura Simmons. My bad, Laura. Which really I think is aimed. Look, if you're a Flex customer and you're a high school kid and you're making your own meals, great. Laura's going to be able to give you some tools for some stuff that you can make. It's also, I think, really helpful for parents to understand here's some ideas about how you can plan meals for your kids that are actually going to help them sustain the stuff that they're doing in the weight room.
Yeah, and for me, I think I find the most value with Laura, specifically with explaining what to eat before practice, what to eat after practice, how to fuel, and then if we're playing a tournament, what should we be eating in between games to get the optimal performance? Because, brace yourself, eating from the concession stand between games not optimal.
That ain't it, dog.
It's not the best thing you can do to your body. Going to McDonald's, also not optimal.
Yeah.
So there's some really awesome insight in addition to her Monday meals, which she posts every Monday. There's some really awesome insight there, and the ability to sign up for a one-on-one with her.
There's a couple of those meals on my list I got to make too. So parents, stuff for you too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nutrition we covered. Weekly hitting we covered. Monthly test retest. Access to field level.
Yeah,
Ooh,
if we want to get
that's
into
a big one.
If we wanted to get into that,
Yeah.
that's a huge one.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of these things where like everybody's going to get access to the same stuff. Right now, your 12 and 13-year-old probably doesn't need to have a field level account.
They don't need to have a field level account.
But when they are ready to do that, now you're able to participate in our network. Now we're able to promote you to college coaches. We're able to put your metrics up on field levels, like on field level site. Like there's a ton of leverage you can gain communicating directly with coaches who know what they're looking for.
Yep.
And again, like this
And
whole
trust
process,
us.
yeah,
Yeah.
and 100% right, and trust us as a data source because again, you can go to a showcase and get your exit velo off of a tee. That might not paint the best picture of your performance as a player. It also might not be the most relevant data to a coach. So when we communicate to coaches and we say, hey, here's 4 months, 6 months, 9 months, 18 months of hitting data, and you can see a kid's progression and you know that it's real because it's not off of a moving tee using a pocket radar. Pretty good thing.
Yeah. We've had in the last 6 to 8 weeks over $50,000 of scholarship offered to our kids.
Yeah. No, I think that's the biggest thing because if you think about it, when you go to a showcase, you got one opportunity to do it. We've all had bad days. Now, what if you are coming in every month to get your numbers retested, go through the snapshot? That's getting updated to field level. Now, when you hit your good days, you have all that going there. So it's not just here's your one shot. You have that built up over time.
Yep, 100%. That's a really great point. What else?
You have access to our showcase.
Yeah.
So we run an internal showcase every year for our high school kids who qualify. If you are an Academy Flex kid and you qualify for our showcase for free,
Come on down.
you get to come on down to either Washington or Arizona, whatever is closer or easier for you to access, and participate in our showcase in front of college coaches where we are able to get live ABs off of using TrackMan and HitTracks and get that data out and video out to college coaches. We put together a video package for you. It's a massive value.
Yeah. You get a chance to get access to private hitting lessons if you want to pay for them with our trainers.
With our Driveline trainers.
Which is a thing that like regular people just can't get.
Yep.
That is just like not a thing.
Yep.
What else am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting stuff.
Guest play opportunities, potentially.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's say you are local to either the Washington or the Arizona area, and you're a Flex customer because you understand that you want to pair development with competition. Your team supplies you the competitive thing, right? They basically function as a container to get you games, and there's not anything wrong with that. Obviously, we do things a little bit different with our academy teams because we pair both, but you like your current team, and that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're playing with good kids, you got good parents in the group, fine. You don't have to leave that. You jump into Flex, and let's say there is a weekend where your team isn't playing games. And we might want one more body for our 14s. For $0,
You get to play some games.
you get a chance to jump in a weekend and play some games.
Yep.
You know, pretty compelling value proposition there. What else am I forgetting?
I mean, the low-hanging fruit that kind of goes without being said is hitting, pitching, strength program based on your time of year.
Yes.
You get your own trainer to communicate with, shoot Slack messages to answer, like ask them questions, figure out what's going on, send them videos so you get that continuous feedback loop.
Yep.
And then, of course, the monthly meetings over the snapshot with your trainer, too.
Yeah.
Which you get even if you are, I feel like, do we throw Idaho out a lot on this spot? Where is South Dakota?
Sure.
There's like, if you're in,
Solon, North Dakota, home of my people.
or, Minneapolis, Minnesota, you may not be able to get out here every single month to do a snapshot. You still get these meetings, and you can come out as often as you are able to get those snapshots, recurring snapshots.
Yeah.
And in lieu of this, if you can't make it out for a month for a snapshot, you can still upload throwing, hitting videos to compare it from your first snapshot.
Yep.
And your trainer can go over that too.
100%.
Yep. Yeah. Which again, you want to talk about how you can improve online training broadly. It's by starting with a better baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because if all you're doing is just kind of understanding video only, I understand that there's some people who are okay at that. You are inherently improving that experience when you're starting with a baseline that's actually real, and it's not just me like eyeballing your mechanics to begin with. We're actually like, we're putting numbers to this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why we do the test retest. And I know we've said this on the pod many times before, but you should always be able to get proof that you're getting better. And if wherever you're at currently isn't giving you hard evidence or proof of whether or not you are improving as a baseball player, and the best thing you have is my batting average went up this year as opposed to last year, you need hard evidence to back the fact that you are getting better or potentially worse. That's like a really important thing to learn before it becomes too late.
Yeah.
That like I'm actually not getting better, and this is a thing that if you play 12 months a year, your batting averages might be going up.
Yeah.
Generally, the rest of your skills behind the scenes are diminishing.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that until it's too late.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think with both of these products, we are breaking down this wall that's like prohibited us with working with more kids.
Yep.
And what we're trying to do for you guys is get some flexibility for how you want to engage with this thing. If you want to just like dip your toe in the pool every 6 to 12 months with a snapshot, fine. You are going to get way better information than you're ever going to get from a showcase, and it's actually going to come with a plan for how to get better.
Yeah.
And I don't... Did we say the price yet?
No.
It's cheaper than most showcases.
Yeah. Should we say the price? Is that a thing? Yeah. Hey, so here's the deal.
They can't change it again, right?
Yeah.
Might as well.
Snapshot's going to launch at $399. Flex is going to launch at $300 a month.
Yep.
I think all of us feel really strongly that for the amount of value that's going to come with either one of those products, it's kind of a no-brainer.
It's a steal, man.
Yeah. And again, you don't have to leave your current team to be able to get this type of driveline experience, be able to leverage our type of insight and take advantage of the plan that we want to give you to actually get better. Mm-hmm. It's putting us in a position to help more kids get better.
Yep.
That's the mission, man.
And if you're, dear listener, balking at that price, consider the cost of a gym membership and a recruiting service and continuous motion captures throughout the year, and you're getting all of that for one price.
I think it makes more sense even if you're just going to a random showcase every now and then, paying for the recruiting service that we all know about. And how much I've seen people pay for that. Like, why wouldn't you just come in for a snapshot a couple times a year? You're going to pay a lot less for that. Yeah. Plus have more actionable data. Plus have stuff that you can send to college coaches. I think the recruiting aspect on its own is worth more than that.
Yes. Dude, weekly hitting on its own.
Yeah.
Weekly hitting on its own. I mean, I was stressed out about my kid as he feels like he's struggling at the plate. And I was thinking about like renting a cage someplace a little bit closer to my house last night. I looked up what it costs to rent a cage. It ain't cheap. With no tech.
With no tech, with no instruction. No deliverable, yeah.
No, it's like $100 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that we did not mention that comes with Flex is access to our internal Slack.
Yes.
Which gets you. We have, obviously, Laura, we mentioned is one of the channels, but we also have a hitting channel, a pitching channel, a strength channel where you can ask questions and get them answered by experts. And we also have what's going to be a pretty massive video library of EDU, different types of concepts that we teach to our kids that are in academy.
EDU meaning
educational, videos, things like that, lessons that we go through with our kids multiple times a week when they come in. You'll have access to all of that. So if you want to not just increase the skill development and skill output for your athlete, but you are looking to make them to raise their baseball IQ a little bit. We have defensive videos. We have how we grade our defensive players and how we determine whether or not they got better at playing defense. You'll have access to all of that.
Yeah. And when you are having that meeting with the flex trainer to kind of like review this information, review the snapshot, review the plan, understand you're working with a guy like Connor Reynolds. One of our guys has played this game at a very high level, but the best leverage he's going to be able to give to you is take these reports that are a little bit dense and help you understand them just in terms of like what's the most actionable stuff I can take out of this. Yep. We know and have planned that as we continue to refine the reports out of this, that we're going to make that a little bit more simplified. In the current term, you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get a meeting with a flex trainer who's going to be able to like make this stuff digestible, and you're also going to get a ton of actual data that comes with it. And if you want to delve into the depths of those reports, you can.
Godspeed.
Good luck and Godspeed. Been there, done that. You can also just have that meeting with a guy like Connor Reynolds, who's going to break that stuff down to you in a way that actually makes sense.
Yep.
You know, you don't need to be like a part-time biomechanist to be able to understand, hey, Johnny, Katie needs to work on pivot picks and janitors in like a 15-minute throwing session before your team practice.
No, it's interesting. You mentioned Katie. Can softball players also access this?
Softball players can also access this thing.
That's tight.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Funny thing, at the booster auction for my kid's high school on the weekend, I ran into the father of a young female baseball player that I used to coach who now converted over to softball. And I was like, hey, come in and do this thing. You know, because again, I think, look, the only reason that there aren't like 100% more home runs hit in youth softball is because of patriarchy. It's complete horse manure that more girls are not hitting tanks, specifically because of the size of those fields and specifically because of the bat technology, right? Yeah. Like, it drives me up the wall that has not been something that has like happened in the course of the last 10 years. Because there are people in baseball that like broadly agree that bat speed is important. Just dip your toes in the water of like fast pitch softball and look at the instruction that these girls are getting when they are tiny. It kills me.
Yep. And I do want to throw out there that we don't do the underhand throwing at this point for like the motion capture, but everything else, softball, absolutely.
I hear arm strength is good in softball too.
Arm strength is good in softball. So like you'll do a regular motion capture because throwing hard is always a good thing.
And again, I've seen enough softball players who even at a very, very high level have arm action that is just, it's not good.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. You know, like Sis Bates is probably one of the best gloves I've ever seen in fast pitch softball. Phenomenal defensive player. You watch her throw. I mean, and it's not that there's anything. It's not her fault. It's a systemic issue of girls not getting the correct instruction, the correct stimulus to help them just move in an ideal fashion for human beings, regardless of gender.
Yep.
Just kills me. So if you want your softball player to be able to throw the ball harder, which is a thing that they're going to have to do if they're playing in the field, and hit the ball harder, which is just holistically good, we got a thing for you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really fired up about this. I feel very stupid for running the academy the way that it was the last 4 years, but I think we're finally at a place where we can run this thing out. We can have Zac manage it, manage the guys and girls who'll be working to deliver this thing. We've got technology so we can get you in and out in a brief amount of time, which again I think for parents is a thing that they need, right?
Yeah.
I don't need you to. I mean, I've had those conversations back when I was in CR of parents who are like, oh, well, the assessment's 5 days. Well, how am I going to do that? Like, my kid has to be in school. Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to do that.
Right.
It doesn't have to be 5 days. It doesn't have to be 2 days. It can be a 90-minute hitting session.
Right. It doesn't have to be, a 6-hour showcase where your kid is participating for 12 and a half minutes and you're sitting in the stands for most of the time.
Yeah, you hit like eight cookies.
Yeah.
8 balls of, yeah.
Correct.
It's so washed, dude.
I mean, so be it. If you feel the need, you can fly out over a weekend and miss almost nothing.
Miss nothing. Yep. You can get your snapshot.
You can hit.
You can, if we have a defensive camp that weekend, you can, or a skill camp, you can do that. And then that's all in one weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you could even do the group hitting after the snapshot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And get a 2.5 hours of drive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Make a whole weekend out of it, yeah.
Yep.
There is a way that even if you don't live in Washington, you don't live in Arizona, that you can get more than your value's worth just by loading it up in a weekend.
Yes.
Like, we have all these different options available. We have all these different resources that if you're not in a nearby area, what's stopping you?
Right.
Like, if you want to be committed, like, this is what you need to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it's just simple as that.
Yeah.
And this does, to be clear, work similar, I guess, to like a gym membership where like you can come into Washington one month and go to Arizona the next month.
Why
There
not?
is nothing stopping you. And we have some more locations opening up this year. And
East Coast, we're coming for you.
East Coast, we're coming. This year and in subsequent years, there'll be even more popping up. And
Yeah.
hopefully we will be at a location near you soon.
Yep.
And you can, it's always nice if you live in, where I grew up in Illinois or Minnesota, it's nice to go down to Arizona in like February.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
You pop down you're down
yeah.
seeing spring training for
Yeah.
a week or two?
Yeah.
Boom.
Pop into the
There you
Driveline in
go.
Scottsdale. It's right there. Yep. 100%.
Yeah. Like I think we've talked before about this idea of people feeling like data was prescriptive, like the bad side of data where you just get a kid who comes in and they get some data and they're like the bottom quartile and they feel crappy about it. And I think what we've talked about on this show before is that the only reason the data should ever be framed that way is if you're not getting like a frequent enough sample.
Right.
And that's like that showcase once a year, or maybe once every 2 years.
It's straight up fixed mindset versus growth mindset, right?
Yep.
You do a showcase once, they give you data that says you are really bad at baseball.
Yeah.
Fixed mindset, I went to this showcase, they told me I wasn't a good baseball player, maybe I should hang it up.
Yep.
Or like, I'm not going to progress, I'm not going to get there. Whereas this is where you stand right now. Maybe it's not great.
Yep.
This is the plan to grow and get better because you don't have to be bad at baseball.
You don't have to be bad at baseball.
I wish somebody would have told me that a long time ago.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, that's just part of it. Like, you say, like, you show up to a showcase, they give you your numbers. It's like, here, these are what all the colleges are looking for, but you're here. And then, like, all right, here you go.
Yep.
Us, we're going to, like, okay, this is where you need to be. This is where you're at. Here's your plan.
Here's your plan.
And that's how you can bridge that gap. But I remember growing up, it's just like, maybe one day you'll grow into your velocity. And that was the direction I got, was just wait.
Wait, yeah.
That didn't get me anywhere. Fun fact, everybody.
Hope is a poor development strategy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, I wish growing up I had anything relatively remote to this. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, I want to help kids get better that had that drive, that passion to be able to, like, I want to get better but don't have a way. Well, now we have a way to show you where you're at and provide that. It's a kid throwing a tennis ball up against the wall. Plyos weren't a thing back then.
Yeah.
Now we have, okay, here's this drill package for you. Here's how we're going to grow you this way. Okay, you need to get stronger, gain more weight. Like, there's different ways to now see that and get kids better. So that kid doesn't have to be like, well, I guess I'm not going to play college baseball, so much for going to college. Like, no, here, we got you. We got your back.
And like in what we were talking about on the last episode of the podcast is like, what happens if you get cut? And this, again, for those of us that listen to that last episode, this is what kind of we were moving towards is it's just signal. It's just signal and feedback. And if the reality is that, like, relative to your current high school or your current club team, they didn't think you were good enough right now, that's only defended if you allow it to be that way.
Yeah.
And the way that you allow it to not be definitive is get some clear signal and answers about what you need, but also how to get better. Like that it's where you are, what do you need, how are we going to get there? Yep. And again, to really double down on this point, I want to restate the fact that with the snapshot, you just come in for a single day snapshot, like that's great. We're still going to give you a month of access to Flex for free. It's included with the thing.
It's included with it. And we the goal obviously is we want you to continue to do Flex and find value in it after that 30 days, but it is ultimately up to you whether or not you want to actually go and execute that programming and whether or not you have a growth mindset.
Yep.
Because you're going to get that data and you could sit there and say, this is where I'm at. And either this is good enough for me or, well, I'm bad, so I guess I'll hang it up. Or, okay, how do I get from where I'm at to where I need to be? And that's what Flex is on a longitudinal basis. And you're going to get that for 30 days. We're going to make sure you get that initial programming. You get that meeting with a trainer so you can see what that looks like and what it feels like. And then it's up to you.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say that, like, with that first month. I think the goal of like giving them a month is be like, here, we want to show you all the value this has.
Yeah.
Go execute it. Go get better. Then you're just gonna be like, wait, I want more. What's next now?
Right.
And that's when you come back for your next snapshot.
Yep.
Go through the next system, see what happens from there.
Yep.
Consider that posture in the way that we're trying to like configure this relationship versus a showcase. You're going to turn the turnstile. You're going to give them your money. They're going to give you a couple numbers, and you're out.
Yep.
And that's all that experience is ever going to be.
Yep.
We're trying to, I think, economically position this thing in a place that it's like a gym membership, or it's cheaper than a showcase. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to have this long-term relationship because it's the only thing we care about is help kids get better.
Yep.
That's just, and the best thing is now we can do that with kids that aren't on our teams. We don't need you to convert religions. You don't need to leave an organization that you're happy with. Look, maybe your coaches don't do all the Driveline stuff, but it's a great coach that like you trust to be around your kid and treat them well. Great group of players that love and support each other. Great group of families that don't act like jerks. I don't want you to have to leave that.
Yeah, don't leave. Yeah, it's a great situation.
Don't leave.
Yeah.
Stay where you are, but find a way to get some clarity about what your player needs to get better.
Right.
Just super simple.
Yep.
We got anything else?
We're all really excited about this.
Yeah.
This product.
Yeah.
And this-
I'm excited to finally talk about it.
I know.
been a hush hush.
I know. Jeremy and I were like jumping out of our chairs yesterday. Housekeeping, axbat.com, cold DL20, get yourself 20% off. Skill to Scale Complete Youth Baseball Training Manual is out. I think we're going to do some sort of like Zoom meeting for people that bought the book and want to talk and ask if they have questions. So I'm going to figure out how I can schedule that. With all the other stuff I've got going on, Youth Underload Smash bets are back in stock and flying. If you don't have that, go get it. It's the best $79 you're going to spend. If you want to pair moving fast with moving accurately, that's good hitting. And if you want to go one level deeper and develop bat speed, Power Trainer is now out. Shout out to everybody that made the 30-inch sell out in like barely over 24 hours. 32 is still available. We've got more inventory that should be landing in late. I think we more inventory that's landing soon. Mm-hmm. So Power Trainers are out. All you have to do, buy it, swing it. You can get the free youth training program that comes with it to be able to like figure out how to do that. But it's not that simple, or it's not that complicated now. You swing the power bat speed is going to go up. Bat speed's a good thing. Pair that with Youth Underload Smash bat to make sure you're focused on contact quality as well and developing super maximal bat speed. That's a good thing. And they're cheap too.
Yep.
Power bat's $79. I'm sorry, Power bat's $99. Youth Underload Smash $79.
Yep.
I think we're gonna have
Steals.
I think we're gonna do like a bundle soon with like both bats and like a set of minis and like discount off the minis, so we can do that. It's just like the complete set. Because my minis, it's like I got 18 of them in my trunk. I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Danny came out of practice yesterday. He was like, Dad, I can't hit. I was like, all right, dog. Got to throw down some minis. Let's go figure it out. That's all we got. Feel complete.
All right.
Should we I don't know what we're going to talk about next time. I don't know. I feel like, we'll figure it out. You guys know us.
Yeah.
I'm sure something horrendous will happen.
I was just going to say,
Yeah,
somebody throwing 150 pitches. Or...
Get on Twitter a little bit later. And
How's Joey
we'll
Bats
have
doing? Do we have any updates on Joey Bats?
You know,
I
wish if I could find out a saga on the update of Joey Bats. Joey Bats has got to be like 12-ish at this point. I feel like that was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, the 10-year-old that threw 161 pitch CG, or whatever. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, 161 pitch CG, because that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, if Joey Bats had gotten the snapshot prior to that outing, and then afterwards, he would see the actual like degradation of performance.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing that happens in season sometimes.
Yeah.
Fun fact: you can get better during season.
Yeah, man.
Like,
I mean,
Well, so it's like, for me, saying that fastballs can rise, right? Like, physically, no, but they can drop less than like another type of fastball if you have higher spin rate. You maybe can't get like actually better during a season, but you can remain where you're at, and it makes you feel like you're actually getting better, so that you don't have to spend multiple months of your off season just trying to get back to where you were at the beginning of the season.
I guess that's more of what I meant. It's just like I just had a lot of kids that come in after season. And it's just like, oh, now I'll just crash. Like, well, What's the difference between before season and during season? They just stop doing anything.
Right. Yeah, there's no maintenance.
Yeah, nothing. There's not
in-season
coming
maintenance.
in to get the hitting lesson, tuning things up. It's just like, and you just keep wearing yourself out. Boom.
Yep. And if you don't believe us, that is a thing you can, if you're on Flex, you can see it in snapshots.
Yeah.
Yep.
We do motion captures of our kids before and after seasons, and it is pretty stark what they look like at the end of a season.
Yep.
No matter how well we try to do maintenance during the season or manage workloads, the fatigue just gets to them
Yep.
after a 3-4 month season.
Yep. So if you want a plan to execute to avoid getting in that box, Driveline Academy Flex, Driveline Academy Snapshots, support at drivelinebaseball.com, 425-523-4030, live on May 1st. We are going to start taking deposits and schedule stuff pretty darn soon here.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in on like that immediate first batch of emails that are going out to kind of offer this to people, holler at our folks in CR, support at drivelinebaseball.com, 425-523-4030. That's all we got.
That's all we got. We're excited.
That's all we got. Man, I'm super fired up. We'll catch you guys next time.
Yep.